What it do, gang? Welcome back to the channel. So listen guys, today we have a new Springers here, which is the new loner deck for the Attribute 4 event. And this deck is actually really fun. I picked it up yesterday and it was secondhand nature to me because all I've played with is rocks and dirt since I was a kid. So this was regular. Look bro, I'm certified to teach you how to play this deck. I got rocks right here and I passed my freaking earth science regions when I was in middle school, bro. So I'm certified with the rocks. Now with that being said, what do you call it? I'm gonna go over what everything does at the end of the video and stuff like that. So it's when we go over the deck list, so I can explain to you what everything does. But I have two replays that allow me to teach you how to play the deck, go over certain things so you can understand it better. So with that being said, if you guys enjoy the content, please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And enough talking, let's get into the replays. Alright guys, here we are for the first replay of the day. If you guys see me stuttering or mumbling, I'm not 100% sure still. I'm gonna pause this video a lot because the names are still confusing to me, bro, because you gotta say Vernusylph every time you say the name. So also I'm really glad I got this replay because it's a mirror match, so I get to explain things to you from both perspectives. Also, if you're gonna play this deck is specifically made to go second. I'll go over that at the deck list portion of the video, but it's made to go second, just to let you know. So here our opponent activates the Vernusylph in full bloom, activating the Awakening Forest, sending a seedling to the graveyard, also sending a goddess, right? So now they get to special summon the Awakening Forest onto the field. That's gonna trigger their field spell. The field spell says that if they special summon a Vernusylph monster from the graveyard, they can grab one of their other Earth Vernusylph monsters from the graveyard and add it to the hand, right? Also, this could be disruption during your opponent's turn. When you activate this effect, you could bounce a card back from anywhere in the field or graveyard back into the hand. That includes your opponent, so it's really good, right? So here they're gonna grab the seedling that they sent to the graveyard to put it back in their hand, right? They're gonna activate the Throwing Mountains. That way they can special summon the goddess, right? Because they send that thing to the graveyard, they're gonna get a card back into the hand. Well, they're gonna draw a card. So they don't have any more plays, so they decided to end it here. So as of right now, I'm gonna tell you, they have one disruption, which is basically they can activate this thing's effect, grab any one of these to special summon it and bounce something back to the hand from the graveyard or from the field, right? On either field. So that's the only disruption they got. We do have the Raigeki, so I'm gonna activate that thing's effect. They're gonna activate the goddess. That way they can get the flowering fields onto the field, which is gonna trigger their field spell, even though everything's gonna get popped, right? So everything gets popped. Again, that's gonna trigger their field spell. Since I don't have anything on the field or anything in the graveyard for them, for a monster for them to send back, they're gonna send back their flowering field to the hand, right? Which is followable for next turn if they get to survive that long, right? So here we're gonna activate the effect of the Vernusylph, the Flourishing Hills, and this is one of your best cards because now I send that thing to the graveyard and you get to search out any one of your other Vernusylph cards, either spell, trap, or monster, right? So we get to special summon the goddess. I activate the Mistling Seeding. That way we send the Enchantler to the graveyard. That way we can special summon it. And then from there I'm gonna special summon the Throwing Mountains, which I specifically searched for because of one specific reason, right? So this thing states that you can target one of your Vernusylph monsters and it can attack twice. So I targeted our goddess, so now we slap him up with the Channeler, slap him up with the Throwing, and then hit him twice with the goddess. So now the reason why I decided to leave it at this, we could have done some different stuff, but I decided not to because this was the best outcome that we could have, right? Because now we have this trap right here which allows us to bounce cards back to the hand, and also we have an imperm, right? So here they're going to activate the Pot of Extravagance, and I'm going to activate the Vernusylph Goddess, which again, it'll allow us to special summon one of our Vernusylph monsters from the graveyard. Special summon that thing. They're going to draw 2 cards, of course, and if you're wondering why I activated this thing, I just wanted another body on the field. Nothing, and none of these monsters have any effects that we could actually do anything with right now. So I just wanted another body on the field. They're going to activate their Seedling, sending it to the graveyard so they could search out this, so they could special summon their goddess, right? Then they're going to activate their field spell, getting the Flourishing fields back into the hand. They're going to activate this thing's effect. That thing has an effect, the goddess, that basically says you could target one face-up monster your opponent controls, take control of it, and if you do, it becomes Earth, which is really cool, right? So here I decided to activate my trap, And honestly, I should have waited. I'm gonna explain to you why in a second. But basically what I did is I'm gonna return both of these back and return 2 of my monsters back into the hand, right? So the reason why I specifically chose these 2 is because I get to activate this thing's effect, send it to the graveyard, and special summon it in our next turn, right? That's what I was thinking. And we send back their own stuff so they can't take over my monster. But again, they're gonna activate their field spell once again, activating the Duckling, getting the Vernusylph Flourishing Hills, and they're gonna special summon the Goddess once again. And one thing that we did disrupt them, because by sending the Goddess back into the hand, we forced them, instead of bringing other monsters onto the field, they gotta basically use the resources to bring this thing back. So okay, so now they're gonna activate the Flourishing Hills, sending the Flowering Field to the graveyard so they can search out the Vernusylph Coral, which is really good. This thing basically makes it so that you can activate your Vernusylph monster's effect without having to tribute another monster. You know how you send 2 monsters to the graveyard? When this thing is on the field, once per turn, you can activate one of these effects without having to send something to the graveyard, right? So then they're gonna slap us up with the Goddess one time for the one time. They can't really make any more plays. They're gonna set down their back row and end their turn, right? So the reason why I should have waited with the trap is because even if they would have taken over my monster, before they would have attacked, I could have sent all of this stuff back and sent my own monster back to the hand. So, but it's still fine. It turned out great. We drew into Harpy's Feather Duster because I was on crack this game apparently. So we're gonna activate that thing's effect, getting rid of their back row. But before we do that, they're gonna activate the Goddess, getting the Flowering Hills onto the field. And again, they did the same thing I did. They just wanted another body on the field. That's all it was. So we're gonna destroy all the back row, get it out of here. Now we're gonna activate the Flourishing Hill, sending the Goddess to the graveyard, and I can search out any other Vernusylph card. So I went with the Awakening Forest specifically because of what I'm about to do. So again, we special summon the Goddess onto the field, right? And then I'm gonna normal summon this thing. And this thing has an effect which basically you could target one Vernusylph monster you control. Its attack becomes double until the end of this turn. So this thing doubles your attack, and this thing makes you attack twice. So we activate this thing, activate this thing. Now she can attack twice with double the damage. Slap their Goddess in the face. It's GG's. Pack up your Lunchables. Have a good night. This deck is extremely fun, bro. Honestly, I like playing this deck. So with that being said, let's go into the next. Here we are for the second replay of the day. And basically the reason why I picked this replay is not that great. It's not like a really good back and forth, but we made a really good turn 1 board. So I wanted to show you to you guys, since you guys might want to play this on the loner deck or whatever, you know, it might help you out. So here we are going first. Again, this deck is made to go second, but you can make a pretty good turn 1 board. It just depends on the hand, right? So we got the part of Extravagance. We're going to activate that thing because we are extravagant, of course. And we drew into our field spell. That's already valid. So when you have your field spell and this thing in the hand or graveyard, you have a free Goddess. Remember that, right? So we're going to activate our field spell. Then we're going to activate the Sealing, sending the Beast King Barbos to the graveyard. They try to backseat us, but we're going to call by the grave that thing because we are going to special summon a good amount of times. So we did not want to deal with that. So here we're going to start comboing off. Again, we get to activate that thing's effect, bringing a Flourishing Hills to the hand, right? That way we could special summon the Beast King Barbaros from the graveyard. Now we're going to activate the Flourishing Hills, sending that thing and the Vernusylph and the Flower Buds. Now again, you're probably wondering, why would you get rid of your trap card? I'm going to tell you. So again, we did that thing, and this thing is your searcher. When you activate this effect, you can search out any Vernusylph card, trap, spell, or monster. Crazy, right? So we searched out our Vernusylph Corolla, right? So now we get to special summon the Hills. That's going to trigger the effect of our field spell. And we're going to basically bring the missing Sealing back to the hand from the graveyard. So now I'm going to activate the Coral. So that way I can activate the Awakening Forest. Send that thing to the graveyard. And I'm going to activate this thing's effect. That way I don't have to get rid of something in order to activate the effect, right? So I'm going to send the Grand Dust Dragon to the graveyard. And I'm going to special summon the Awakening Forest, of course. Then I'm going to normal summon the Vernusylph, the missing Sealing. And then I'm going to activate this thing's second effect, which says you can banish one Vernusylph and the Flower Buds from your hand or graveyard. Special summon the Vernusylph Goddess. That's what I told you. You have a free Goddess. So now we're going to banish the trap. And we get to special summon the Goddess, which is crazy, right? And now this is something that you, when this thing is on the field with 5 other or 4 other Earth monsters, it becomes a negate. So now I decided to use both of these monsters here to link off into the Missile's Radiant, right? So you bring the Radiant onto the field. Now this thing gives everything an attack boost. And if it gets popped, you get to special summon 2 of your Earth monsters from your graveyard, which is crazy, right? Also, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 more Earth monsters on the field. If you have 5 on the field, this thing becomes a automatic Omni Negate. What other effect does she have? That she can bring one of these things back into the field. So let's go. So here our opponent is going to draw their card, and I'm going to immediately activate this thing's effect. Now let me teach you something as well. I should have waited to do this, but because I wanted this thing to become a negate, I goofed up. But I should have definitely waited on this, because look, we're going to activate that thing's effect. They're going to max CS. We call by the grave that thing last turn, so that thing gets negated. So it's hilarious. So again, I special summon this thing, and this is why I said I should have waited until they at least had a monster on the field. I could have bounced their monster back, but because I didn't wait, I guess I'll just bring one of these things back into the hand. But before we get to do that, they're just gonna call by the grave it. I guess that's revenge for the Maxi. But yeah, they call by the grave that thing, so I can't bring it back to the hand. I can't bounce anything back, so it's fine. They're gonna activate Foolish Burial, and then they're gonna send the Nyan to the graveyard. Then they're gonna get a GG on the field, right? Activate that thing's effect. They activate the Hyena in the graveyard, and I negate it because we have 5 Earth monsters on the field, right? Negate that thing. Then they're gonna activate their Lalau, targeting this thing so they can special summon it. Then they can special summon the Nayami or Nayang, whatever that thing is. Then they're gonna synchro summon into the virtual world Kyubi Shenshin, and then they scooped. Shenshin can't beat over all of our monsters. That's the only monster they have. So essentially, even if they would have slapped us in the face, if they would have destroyed any one of these monsters, which I think they could only destroy the Link one, it didn't matter if it got banished, because next turn we were gonna slap him up regardless. That was the only monster they had. We had all type of disruption. I could have just sent it back to the extra deck too next turn with the field spell. So I mainly decided to pick this replay to show you that you can make a really good turn 1 board, but it depends. Also, it allowed me to show you how some of the cards in the deck work. So with that being said, let's go into the deck list. Right, gang. So I decided to do a quick live gameplay of the deck. Alright. We're going second. We do have the Pancake Tops, which is good. This is good right here. We actually got a decent hit. Oh my god. Okay. Everybody's breaking today. What's going on? Alright, we're gonna make something happen then. Let me see. That is even. Yo, this hand is cracked. So I'm gonna special summon this thing. Don't scoop, bro. Just don't scoop. Right, we're gonna. Well, actually, do I need to pop a card? Yeah. They're not activating anything, so let me see. I'm gonna activate this thing's effect. I'm gonna send this thing to the yard, so I can special summon it. It's a 3000 B stick, right? Then what I'm going to search out for is I gotta bring this thing to the hand, and then we're gonna special summon the 3000 B stick. And then from here, we're going to activate this thing's effect. Send it to the yard. We're going to send the goddess to the yard as well. We're not going to activate that. And then we're going to add this thing back to the hand. And then we're going to special summon the goddess. So then from here on out, we can normal summon these things, right? This thing says you can banish one Boros monster from your graveyard or face-up field and target 2 cards your opponent controls. Destroy. So I could basically banish this thing and pop both of these cards, right? So this thing technically has more attack, so I'm gonna normal summon this. And let me see, if I go into 2 of these, there's no point. So let me 26 plus 24, that's 5,000. Cause I'm thinking if I just pop this as 5,000, alright, whatever, bro. Let's just go. Battle. What the heck is that? Neither player can special summon monsters with what? Okay. Attack. Attack that. I'm glad we didn't pop the cards, bro. We got way more damage in. Now, because they're playing a weird... I wonder what this is, and I wonder if I should pop it. Do I have an earth monster? Yeah, we do have an earth monster in the graveyard. Because I'm saying I could... Hold on. So this is what I'm thinking, right? I can activate this thing's effect, right? We're going to grab itself. Nah, I just made a mistake. I just made a mistake, bro. And I called it. So... What? Super Team Buddy what? What are we playing against? Alright, so I'm going to explain to you the mistake that we made. So essentially, the mistake that I made is I basically popped the Pankratops on purpose because I could bring it back with the goddess. But I should have left it here, then brought back this thing back so she could have became an Omni Negate. That's what I should have done. Hopefully, they don't really have anything crazy. What is that? A lovely... Okay, that doesn't scare me, and that's a normal summon. So we're going to activate this, and like I said, we're just going to bring the Pankratops back onto the field. Attack position. Hopefully they don't have any craziness, bro, because I'm shook. I don't know what this deck is. What is that? That's an attachment thing, isn't it? Equipped to a normal monster if it battles a monster with a higher level, or equip monster gains 5 differences in level during the damage calculation. When this card is sent to the graveyard, you can place... Okay, that's fine. Can I activate the Pankratops even in the battle? Oh, what the heck is that, bro? Increase the attack of all water monsters. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's fine. So you're just boosting that thing to the highest that it could go. Okay. Okay, so do you want me to pop the thing? Now, hold on. Increase the attack of all water monsters by 500 points and decrease their defense. So do I care about that? Equip only to... I'm just gonna pop the monster, bro. Legitimately, like, what's stopping me from doing that? You're trapped. Target one face a monster in the field. Special summon from your hand. Original. What? Okay. I love this event, bro. I love seeing stupid little weird decks like this, yo. Even though it's not doing much, but it's fun. This is fun. Like, this is refreshing, bro. You don't get to see stuff. I wish I would have let him cook more or something, but I'm scared, bro. I don't know what's happening. It's GG's though, because look, we can activate this thing's effect. Give me your monsters, mine now. Don't scoop yet, bro. I gotta show the people something. I'm gonna activate this thing. Sending herself to the graveyard. Cancel that. And then what I'm gonna do, we don't have 5 Earth monsters still. Let me see. Yeah, there's no point. We're just gonna get a... Well, actually, I could show you. But yeah, we could either go for attacking twice, or we could go from doubling the attack. But I'm just gonna get the field spell. For no, like, it just is what it is. And then I get to special summon. You have more attack, so bring that out. Activate this. They're all gonna get an attack boost because we have a bunch of earth monsters. Change to attack position. Battle. I'm sorry, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. It's GG's. So there you go. We got a live gameplay. I got to show you how things work and stuff like that. So now you could go into the freaking event and get your gems, bro. Go clap people up, all right? So this is after I said I just went over the deck list. After I went over the deck list, so I'm gonna put this before the deck list, so I see you in the deck list now, bro. All right, just so you don't get confused. So again, this is the deck list for the loner deck event. Since you guys can get your gems with this deck, it's really fun. Honestly, you might get your W's. It's not like you're on ladder or anything. You just gotta win and lose, win and lose. You don't lose like ranking or anything, right? So they gave you 2 Vernusylph, the Flowering Fields. And this thing effect is basically your opponent cannot target Vernusylph monsters you control with card effects. So something that you can do is, if you have the goddess on the field and this thing in your graveyard, special summon this thing, and now your Vernusylph cards are unaffected, right? Which is really good. So that's something that you could do. And again, it has the same effect as the other ones. You could discard this card and add one earth monster from your graveyard to your hand, blah blah, all that extra stuff, right? Then you have your Vernusylph, the Towering Mountains. This thing's okay. Now that that's done, we have two Vernusylph, the Towering Mountain, and this thing's special. I'm gonna call them special effects because they all have the same effect, but they all have special effects. So this thing's special effects is that you can discard this card and one monster or one Vernusylph card, draw one card. That's its first thing. It allows you to draw a card. The second thing is that you could also you can target one Vernusylph monster you control, and it can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. You can only use each one of those effects once, right? So those are the two effects that you need to know. You could discard this thing in a monster, or you could discard this thing in a Vernusylph monster or a Vernusylph card and draw a card. And you can normal summon this thing and make one of your Vernusylph monsters attack twice, even itself. So our next card is the Vernusylph, the Mesting Seedling. This thing is really good because, again, you're going to activate its effect to send a card to the graveyard and then get a card to the hand, preferably probably this thing right here, so you can search out for your spells or traps. But essentially, also one of the things, like I said, if you're going to bring one of them back, if you're going to bring this thing back, all monsters on the field lose 600 attack except Vernusylph monsters. So if you're in a situation where your opponent has a little bit more attack than you and they're about to destroy you, you can legitimately activate this thing's effect, bring this thing back from the graveyard, diminish its attack, and you're good. That's something that you could do. Then you have the Vernusylph, the Flourishing Hills, which basically this thing is your searcher. If you activate its first effect, first of all, it says monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effect, which is really good to have it on the field, right? But it also says you can discard this card, add one monster Vernusylph card, add one Vernusylph card from your deck to your hand. Again, that could be your traps, monsters, or field and regular spell, right? Which is really good. She's your searcher. Then you have the Awakening Forest. Your Awakening Forest can make one of your monsters attack double. So it could, basically she has 900. Let's say you have another one, it'll be what, 900, 1800. There you go. So that's one of her effects. Again, the other ones, you could discard this card, add one monster or Vernusylph card, send from the deck to your graveyard one earth monster that can be normal set. Then you could special summon one earth monster from your graveyard with a different name from that monster, right? So you're not going to be special summoning the monster that you sent from the deck to the graveyard. You're going to be specially the monster that you sent from the hand alongside this thing. So remember that. Then you have the Ashura, the Earth Charmer. This thing is kind of dookie. It's basically just fodder. So essentially you're going to use this as fodder to send to the graveyard with your Vernusylph cards. But also it has a good effect, which basically if one of your earth monsters get destroyed, you get to special summon this thing, which is good to have another earth body on the field, right? But that's pretty much it. Also, it has the effect that you could get rid of it in another earth monster and then you get another one, which is horrible. So you don't want to do that. Then you have 3 Dino Wrestler Pancakes, which is really good because now you don't have to wait for your opponent to have monsters on the field to activate this thing's effect. You could actually, for example, if you have this thing in the hand and a Pancakes, activate this thing's effect, send the Pancakes to the graveyard, get your card to the hand, and special summon the Pancakes, which is a free pop a card on the field on any turn, right? So that's really good. Then you have this thing right here, which is the Beast King Borrows. So it says you can normal summon set this card without tributing, but its original attack becomes 1900, which is fine. You could tribute 3 monsters to tribute summon, but not set this card. If summoned this way, destroy all cards your opponent controls. This is really good because some of the time you're gonna have more than 3 monsters on the field. If you got a good hand, right, you're gonna have a bunch of earth monsters on the field. Just tribute 3 and you got to destroy all the cards on your opponent's field, right? Also, if you send this thing to the graveyard, let's say again with the Seedling, you get to special summon it. That thing is 3000 attack. You're beating someone up with that thing. It's happening. So that's why that thing is there. Then you have this, the King Beast Borrows, which basically says this card can attack all monsters your opponent controls once each, which is crazy. You can only use each of the following effect King Beast 1%. You could tribute 1 monster whose total level is 8 or more, special summon this card from your hand, right? So you could basically tribute this thing and special summon this thing, or any one of the other level 8s, which is right here, right? So you could do that. Also, you can banish one borrowed monster from your graveyard or face-up field and target 2 cards your opponent controls and destroy them, which is also really good. So then you got your Grand Tux Dragon. This thing, what I like to do is, if you're on your turn, you want to pop cards, activate again with any one of these, send it to the graveyard, special summon this thing, and you got 2 pops, which is really good. And then 2 versus Vera the Vernusylph Goddess. Again, this is your main boss monster and stuff like that. So essentially what you'll do with this card is, specifically, you gotta build a game plan around this card if you're gonna open up and build a board with it, right? Because it'll allow you to bring any one of these back from the graveyard. So let's say again, you could bring this thing back, make her attack twice. You could bring this thing back, double her attack. You know, stuff like that. You gotta pick and choose what it is that you're bringing back. So then we got 2 Raigekis. You know what Raigeki does. Happy Feather Duster backward removal. 3 Pot of Extravagance. You don't really care that much about your extra deck. Like, honestly, you don't. There's certain times when you're gonna have, like, let's say any one of these level 8s, or even this level 8 right here, right? Or your Pankatops, and you can make this thing because it says if this card was link summoned using a level 7 or higher monster, your opponent cannot target this thing with card effects, right? So you could do that. You could use 3 monsters to go into this, but you don't really care about your extra deck all that much. So then we got our field spell, which is the Vernusylph in full bloom. This thing is really good again because all your monsters you control gain 1,000 attack while you control 5 or more earth monsters, which is crazy. If you get it, it's not that easy, but you can get 5 earth monsters on the field, no problem. So then we have the 2 effects, which is basically once per turn you can banish 1 Vernusylph. That's you could banish this thing right here and you get a free goddess. That's basically what that thing is saying for the first effect. And then the second effect is that if a Vernusylph monster is special summoned from your graveyard, except during damage phase, you could target 1 monster on the field or graveyard and return it to the hand. It doesn't say it, but it's on either. Oh yeah, it doesn't say it right there. I can't speak English, but yeah, on either field. So you could either bounce a card from the field to the back to the hand, or you could activate this thing's effect. And let's say you're playing against Steel Limits, which you're not going to be doing against in this event, but I'm just giving you an example. You could send their Steel Limits cards from the graveyard back into the deck. Only 1 though, but you know, I'm just giving you an example. So then this thing right here is also really good because it says all earth monsters you control are also treated as Vernusylph monsters, which is crazy. Once per turn, if you would discard a Vernusylph monster, add 1 card to activate the effect of the Vernusylph monster in your hand, you could discard only that Vernusylph monster instead. So instead of activating this thing and sending something else to the graveyard, you just have to activate it and not send anything to the graveyard. But sometimes you don't want to activate this thing because sometimes you do want to send something to the graveyard so you can special summon it. So remember that. Then you got 2 Cold by the Graves, 2 Infinite Impermanence, 1 Vernusylph and the Changing Season, which basically says target 1 Vernusylph monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand or special summon it. During your opponent's turn, except during this turn, this card was sent to the graveyard. If you have no cards in your hand, you can banish this card from the graveyard, special summon as many Vernusylph monsters as possible with different names from your graveyard, but return them to the hand during the end phase. This thing can help you OTK. 1, 2. Something else that you could do is if you have 4 earth monsters on the field, you have another one in the graveyard, activate this thing's effect, special summon it, and now you got 5 earth monsters for this thing to become an Omni Negate. Those are ways that you could use that thing. For the extra deck, it's honestly, we don't even have to really go over it because you're mainly not going to use it. This thing basically gives all your monsters an attack boost, and if it gets popped, you get to bring earth monsters from the graveyard back to the hand. This thing is, you know, 2 monsters with different names. If this thing is co-link summon, you could discard 1 card, then target 1 special summon monster in your opponent's main monster zone and destroy it. That's basically what that's here, but you don't really need it. This thing will allow you to get more earth monsters from your opponent's side into the field to link 3, I guess, into this thing. Maybe not, probably not, because you need 3 different monsters with 3 different names, but whatever. And then this thing right here says 2+ monster with the same type. Once per turn during the standby phase, you can target 1 face of monster this card points to, special summon 1 level 4 lower monster with the same type of that monster from your hand to your zone this card points to. At the start of the battle phase, you can target 1 card your opponent control, destroy. So honestly, your extra deck is not that great. You don't really care that much about it. You could really play the game with your regular cards. But that is the deck list. I explained everything and everything that you need to know. So if you guys have any questions, comments, and concerns, just please ask in the comment section below. I always reply, bro. I always answer. So with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the content. If you did, please leave a like, share, comment, and subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. And I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.